All right, welcome to the last episode of I Can't Believe That's News with myself and Carrie.
And I'm Carrie Miller. Hello, it's me.
There you go.
Last step. Let's talk
It's the
about
last episode, yeah. But
Mhm.
actually, it's not quite. But it is technically decided to change the name.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a falling out. You know about this, but we'll talk about it for the sake of the audience.
Definitely.
Had a falling out with the previous host. We did a Instagram live stream together about a week ago. And it's just me, par for the course, normal stuff, weed, Jesus, everything in between. And she has a habit, and a lot of people have this habit with me of not letting the content see the light of day, or in her case, she posted it for a few hours and then took it off. Now, most people think once that story disappears on Instagram, it's gone forever. But if you're quick, you can actually go and download anybody's story that they decide to post. So what I've been doing now is a reflex, and not just from people not giving me the content or I mean, sometimes things will just get deleted, accounts will get deleted, banned. I've lost Instagram live streams because of copyright with the music that I was walking through a mall or something and there's copyrighted music playing. So I've just known the internet is not forever, contrary to popular belief that if you put something online, it's there forever. It's definitely not. In fact, a lot of content's lost, and I've lost a lot. So we had a falling out because she took this thing down, and the thing was she was just talking about her struggles with weed, and I think she has a issue
Mhm.
with me and Jesus and how I interpret and where we meet and where we don't meet. And I think she's having struggles with her own walk with whatever she considers to be
Mhm.
God and Jesus. And so my whole thing is, if you're going to be a truther, don't be ashamed of who you are. Don't be ashamed of the truth. And, I
Yeah.
feel like she didn't want to post the content because it contradicted with her message of who at least she's trying to portray herself as. And so between getting tired of people doing this to me, especially her, she's done it a few times, and
Mhm.
the hypocrisy, I said, you know what, I'm gonna leave. I saved it and I'm gonna post it. And so I posted it to Instagram. I posted it to all of them, Rumble, every single one of them.
Mhm.
And on a few of them, I didn't put her name in it, so she wouldn't show up in the search engine. And I took it down off Instagram because that's where the crossroads of our audiences in the greatest numbers meet. That's how
Mhm.
she found me, and that's how I see most of her content. So sorry to be so long winded about this. I know you know all about this, but just for the sake of
No,
the
no.
audience,
No, yeah,
uh,
absolutely. I think it's really fascinating.
part of the story of I Can't
Yeah.
Believe That's News. So me and her made this about a year and a half ago. I just wanted to do something with somebody. It's kind of similar. It's like I have lots of things I'd like to talk about it, but it's just easier to just bounce it off another person. And so that's
Yeah.
kind of how this got started, with just pandemic ridiculousness and stories that you just can't, you can't believe they're news. And she abandoned that about I don't know, 10, 15 episodes in. No, we went over 20.
What was it? The words you were saying, certain words you were using, or
Well,
was it
again,
just overall message?
I think, well, she had a huge shift from new age psychedelic stuff, which I
Mhm.
wouldn't even classify her as, but she converted hardcore into a
A
certain type of
Christian
Christianity
Karen.
that I don't even know what to call it. I guess
Yeah, it's interesting because I listened to it and I watched a couple of her things. It seems like I don't know. I wish her well and I hope that she,
yeah.
sorts her deal out. But it did seem very much like she's trying to reject something to be a part of something else. And the idea is like you got to get right with yourself, no matter what you're a part
Well,
of.
that's
Like
that's what I told her.
you gotta
Yeah.
be your own pillar. She did block me as well on Instagram.
That's
And
funny.
I thought it was funny. I checked
That's
her.
not necessary.
I took a peek on another account and saw her comments were limited. I thought that was interesting as well. But I mean, I don't mean to like cause her any stress or anything. I'm just like a neutral. I'm an
I know.
observer. I
Well,
don't know that
yeah.
I'm neutral because I'll always have my own judgments and opinions on that kind of thing.
Well,
But
you're part of the audience of that world,
yeah,
and then now
yeah,
you're a part of it because you're on the show. But
Yeah, one
Um,
letter separates me and Kara. So
yeah.
look, I wish her well. I really do. I'm sorry that you had that frustrating
Well, yeah.
experience.
Let me finish for the
Please,
audience, which
please.
was okay. So it's just she was just doing a random Instagram live. This was all about. It was just a random Instagram live, and I got on there and talked to her for 45 minutes, and I
She
saved it.
was stoked to have you on. She lit
Yeah, it
up
was
because I
great.
was watching.
Yeah, we do this Instagram live. She was totally about it, just like you said. She was totally about it when I got on there. It's always after the fact, after she processes it. And I'm not like trying to like make fun of her or do things to her during the streams, but I also am kind of
Mm-mm.
like checking her in terms of like, what's your theology? What do you actually believe? What's your logic? Like, why do you believe this? If this, then that. Like, if you
Mm-hmm.
do you believe in this then? Because they believe in that. You call yourself this. Do you believe in that? Or it was about psychedelics and weed, and I think she felt condemned in a lot of different ways, or she felt like a hypocrite. And again, I'm just speculating. I never know
Totally.
what the truth is, but I'm like, fuck this. You're not going to just use me up for an hour. Say it's she. So I posted the thing. She got pissed about me reposting our interview, our little chat. She calls me up when I'm going to somewhere in the airport. I can't remember where I was going, but 9 o'clock in the morning, she's furious because she sent me text at almost 10 o'clock the night before saying, take it down. I didn't give you permission, blah, blah, blah. In my DMs. And I got an early flight. I'm not looking at that phone too late in the evening.
Mm-hmm.
I try to be good about it. And plus it's just my girlfriend. Like, who are you talking to? What's that? What's going on? So just
Yeah,
the less the better. Plus it's just better for sleep. And,
sure.
I'm glad I did because I didn't want to have to go to bed thinking about that bullshit. So I
Mm-hmm.
woke up, I see that Kara's upset. I didn't take this interview down. She's like, it's mine interview. I own it. I'm like, nah, I don't know about that. I never agreed to anything.
Huh. Yeah, how
It's
unfair.
Instagram's, anybody can record it and save
Yeah, it
it
belongs
or
to Mark
repo.
Zuckerberg, actually.
Yeah. So, like go ahead, fight me there or air my dirty laundry. I really don't have any. What I say, I mean, how bad can it get below that? You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
I literally have nothing to hide in terms of something that would publicly ruin me more than that. So like, go for it. But I'm just sick of the hypocrisy, and
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm beating a dead horse at this point, but this is the
No,
podcast,
yeah, we
and
got to
she was a
clarify
part
it
of it,
here.
so we just gotta
Yeah.
air it out and move on. And that's why I want to change the name because she called me up the next day, 9:15, 9:30 in the morning at the airport, scream crying at me. And at first she was kind of calm, but about a
Mm-hmm.
minute into the call, and I'm trying to get it out. I'm like, look, I'm trying to compromise with you. I didn't tag you and everything. I'm not making a big deal about it. Just leave it alone. But she wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
leave it alone. And then when I said I'm definitively not taking it down, she starts scream crying at me, not letting me get any word in, just and beating
Yeah.
me upside the head with I'm going through a lot right now and blah 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 about her personal life, which I'm not going to get into.
How
But
respectful of you.
right, like I
But
don't know what's
but
going
that
on.
happens where people kind of weaponize,
Well,
drama
and
or
it
not
works on a lot
drama
of
or
people.
yeah, absolutely. It's like an emotional con kind of. And not to belittle what she's going through, but to throw that in somebody's face as
That's
if that
exactly
has
it.
anything to do with the
That's
creative
exactly it.
conversation you had. Like that's a little bit much.
That
That
was
sounds
my other
like a lit
issue.
up ego.
Exactly. I'm like, come on now. Like, I get it. You might be going through all kinds of stuff that doesn't give you rights over things. Like, at what point am I an artist or a friend? Where's the line? You
Mm-hmm.
know? So I
Yeah.
just said, you know what? I already knew going into that phone call when she called me, uh, I wasn't going to take it down. And I knew that that meant our friendship was over, which I'm okay with.
Wow.
I mean, because as much as we were like buddies online, I never met her. I tried to meet her once when she came to Florida, but she didn't want to take more than an hour of time out for me. I wanted to go float and all this stuff. I had it all hooked up.
Uh,
Um, I'm not knocking what she did. She had a bit business down in Florida, and it did involve me. But what I mean, like I've never even met her in terms of
right.
like how close we are as friends. I've known her online for like a year and a half. She sent me some cool stuff in the mail, stuff that she's now embarrassed of, a spell kit,
Yeah, she's like, you
which
always
I
bring
hold
that
on
out.
to. Well, it's like to show you that you're always changing, and who are you? What do you actually believe in? Like I still Christian Karen, the Christian, the New Age girl. I thought you
Yeah.
were all right in my book either way, but the hypocrisy and cutting me out of stuff, standing up. walking out saying I can't do this or that, because I've done other things where it's like, oh, don't post that. And I've, before I've been like, all right, whatever. But I just got tired of it.
Yeah.
So just to make a point and just to say, you know what, we're not really friends here. You're not going to emotionally guilt me. Your Christian stuff doesn't work on me. And again, I'm not saying I'm not a Christian or she's not a Christian. I don't even know what a Christian is, to be honest with you, especially in her world where it's
Yeah, there really
always
shouldn't.
changing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's such a big term. It shouldn't really be defined, honestly, at this point. It's vague.
Yeah. So Kara's gone. I can't believe that news is no more. So I will no longer be calling this. I can't believe that's news. It just reminds me of her too much. And I want to divide that. So when it comes
Hmm.
up in search engines and stuff, like it won't be, our new content won't be related to that old
Hmm.
frequency, as I like to look at it. Like we've shifted.
Yeah,
Um,
love it.
and you sent me some ideas for some names. Did you come up
I
with
don't like
anything?
them anymore. I like what you said, like making it just the content you crave,
Yeah.
kind of
Well, I was gonna say here, what
within
else do
that
we
vein.
have? I put it on Instagram for people to help me out. Let me see if I can
Oh,
come
you
up with one.
did? That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was bopping around with some ideas. I could have another think tank session on it tonight after this, and I'll let you know what I come up with. But I was really ripping apart everything I came up with.
Yeah. Okay, here we go.
Nothing really clicked for me.
Some comments here from the Instagram account. Lasurgia meme here says the Wacky Fun Time Extreme Deluxe podcast. And I actually really like
That's
that one.
great. I really like that too, actually.
Here's another one,
That's really
Jihad.
good.
Jihad cast. I actually like that one too. Jihad
Why
means to
not?
struggle.
What if we called it
I,
like the
I
Jihad
believe.
Jamboree or
Yeah.
something?
Hey,
Wow,
buddy,
that's
fix your
these are
podcast, buddy. Let's see. Can you believe
these
this
are
shit
good.
podcast?
Nice.
Uh, yeah.
Those are good. Those are not bad.
But yeah, like you were alluding to, I think we're just going to name it the unless you can come up with something better, which I'm open to. But I already own the
Cool.
URL because that was the big
Yeah.
problem. I'm like, wasn't really a problem, but Kara was like, I'll just give you the URL and all these things. I can't believe that's news. Which she
Hmm.
was, like I said, we were cool. She was totally cool. I have nothing against her personally. It's just you want to
Hmm.
hold yourself out as a content creator and a truther in this world. These are the rules you play
Yeah.
and die by your truthfulness as a truther. And so I'm not trying to like kill her
Agreed.
career. I'm just like, accept who you are or don't play
Yeah.
in my world. If you expect to come into my world and play half-assed or be a liar or not be true to yourself, that mirror won't stand in my reality. And again, not trying to hate on her or shit on her.
Hmm.
It's just if you're listening, sorry. But the emotional manipulation doesn't work. You shouldn't use it on anybody. You should just be straightforward and hey, this is what it is.
Hmm.
And I would have let it go. Like that's why I tell people don't bring attention to things. Like sometimes it's just better to tuck your tail between your legs and just move on. But
Yep.
don't bring attention to it because then the person knows, especially if they're malicious, they know it's getting to you. Now I'm going to leave it alone
Mhm.
after this conversation, but I just wanted people to know because I know there's a lot of cross audience, especially with this
Mhm.
podcast, because people will tell me in the DMs, oh, I came from this podcast or this person. And we've
Mm.
had a lot of cross streams. And I want to cut you out of that world too. So going forward, it's the content you crave. I think that's better. I own the URL, so
Yeah,
there's
I
no
think
mess. There's no mess
that's a
there.
great name.
Yeah. And if you can come up with something better, I have one. I have another URL. I have a few URLs I need to use. I have one called Based Bible Study.
Ooh, that's kind of
Agree to
fun.
disagree.com. Yeah, I got a few.
You own that? Dude, you're rich in URL.
Well, I think of an idea and I'll buy it
Yeah,
because
that's smart.
you can sell them. I've never made any money off any of them, but I have like 15 URLs I have that I'm like, maybe one day one of
Yeah,
these things will eventually
easily.
break through. But
Yep.
like I own Post Float Glow and a few other float ones too. Um,
Ooh, nice.
just haven't used them. They're just sitting there parked. But anyway, I wanted to
Valuable.
talk about my LA trip before we got into some news. I know we're just blowing through the time here with the stuff, but that's it. We won't mention her again unless there's
Yeah.
relevant commentary.
Yeah.
Like unless she gets online and makes like a reply video, but I know she won't. She's
No,
hopefully
yeah, I
learned at
don't
this
think she
point
wants any attention on this.
to, to not fan the flame. Okay, because there are a few websites where you can type in and you can see my video. And if people want to see it, just go to YouTube. You'll see the interview, and then you'll see my reply. So I wanted to get that
Yeah.
reply out right when I was fresh, because I was like shocked that she called and wouldn't let me get a word in, like just scream yelling at me. And I was kind of like at a certain point laughing, because
Yeah.
the guilt wasn't working on me, the screaming wasn't working on me, and it just like tightened my grip over the situation. I'm like, no, definitely not now.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
somebody could do that to me in the future, but again, I try to live my life where I don't care. Like it's like, okay, well, yeah, post it. If I said it, go on, you can go on ahead and post it all over the place. The more, the better. But I'll freely admit it, and I'll say, hey, post away, and I'll give you my reply to that. Now I've changed, or I've learned something
Yeah.
new.
What a journey it's been. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So the content you crave here, yeah, that's what's going on. I crave LA now that I visited.
Oh yeah?
I've been wanting to talk about it since I left, but I just haven't had a chance to sit down and talk about my LA trip here. Let me see if there's any other notes before I move on to the next thing here.
Hmm. Yeah, I want to hear
But
about it. And it's funny you say that you were gonna hang out with Sarah in Florida, but she didn't wasn't able to make more than an hour because I was actually also limited in my time with you. But I was stoked that we did get to meet each other, for
yeah,
sure.
so I went to
It
LA.
was
I'll just
awesome.
just go through my trip. Yes, it was. Thank you. So I fly into LAX, and mind you, I've only been for the audience. I've only been there once to LA. It was for a wedding. I was in downtown for like a day, just the event, nothing else, no
And
sightseeing,
you're
nothing. Just
photographing the wedding. You weren't
yes,
going to a wedding,
right. Yeah, I
right?
was I
It was
was working.
work.
Yes. So when I did the wedding work, it was uh airports, hotels, event, uh hotel, airport. So I saw a lot
Hmm.
of airports and hotels, but not a lot of the actual cities I went to. So this is my first real excursion into LA, and boy, it was a real LA experience. So you get there at LAX, and they got to take you on a bus to go get on an Uber or a Lyft, because my company makes me take Lyfts and Ubers everywhere,
Hmm.
which is always an interesting experience. Like when I go on these trips for this job, I get Ubers, I get put in the areas, man. I get a real local taste. And when I add a mall walking to it, that really gives me the flavor. So LAX, the first thing you smell in LAX when you leave the airport is just weed everywhere. Everywhere you go. Yeah, so I get
Oh
my Uber.
no.
It's a Mexican guy. I'm staying in Koreatown, and like I said, we're driving through the hood. I get the full experience. I see a woman. I don't know, maybe she was a girl. Who knows? I saw a
Right.
female who was wearing a skirt that must have been 2 inches with a thong showing, and there must have been
Wow.
50 people in the streets. Nobody was messing with her. Everybody was looking at her, of course, but I don't know what she was doing. She didn't seem like she was on drugs, because she was walking really good in some probably about 4 or 5 inch high heels. Maybe
Wow.
I don't know, but I said, okay. So it smells like weed. I'm seeing all these wonderful sights, the tent cities. I get to my
Yeah.
hotel room. The first commercial I see is for Botox.
That's
Gas prices are between $5 and $6 a gallon, which
right,
is
baby.
almost double where I'm living right now. Like I said, I was in a hotel, which was the true LA experience. I didn't stay in some posh ivory tower disconnected from the people. And then that night, yeah, I got to went to shout out to Pause Float. Uh,
Yeah.
Pause was it Pause Float Studio?
Pause Studio.
Pause Studio.
But
Yeah,
they started all from the floats. That was the engine that started the business. Was the owner did his first float on the pier for
that was
some demo, and yeah, started Pause.
that was. I told like what was the guy's name that was there that night? That guy was great.
Brian,
I
awesome
told
guy.
Brian, yes, shout out to Brian, really awesome guy. Had the Palo Santo burning. I knew that was a good thing when I saw that. Palo
Hmm.
Santo, unlike Sage, I'm sure you know this, attracts. It not only clears out, the room like Sage does, but it attracts good vibes. Sage doesn't do that. Sage just kind of cleanses and
Cleanses.
moves on. But every time I see Palo Santo, it just, I know I'm in for a good time. But I got to you were the host, the hostess. It was great. I got hooked up with a float in the Miley Cyrus pod. Yeah, that was
That's right.
I told him I told the guy this was easily one of the best top five floats I've ever had out of thousands. The tank
We
was
love
great.
to hear that.
Literally, the only issue I had with the whole place, and part of it's just
Yeah,
my
yeah.
height. It's the tank is
Okay,
so
totally.
low. It is a little difficult, especially for people that don't
Oh,
know this.
yeah. It's pretty
When
low
you've
to the
had a
ground.
when you've had a very deep, relaxing float, you're weak. I don't care how strong you are.
Mhm.
You're relaxed, and it takes a little bit for that to come back to you. And so to try to roll out of that pod, that was the only thing I had. That was literally like the room, everything. Even the location was great for LA. I thought that was a really nice spot.
Yeah, it was a good spot. It's one of our
Now,
fancier spots.
which one was that? Which part of the city?
That was the Brentwood location.
Yeah, Brentwood location. That was just a dream come true. And then you gave me what
Hmm.
was that, leg compression? Describe
Yeah, we
that.
did a Normatec compression session. So we got a little lymphatic massage up the legs like the athletes do. Really good recovery service.
We did that before the float, and
Yeah.
and we had some blueberry tea. We got to talk mainly about Kara.
Well, it had all just happened. So
Right, it was
we were
fresh.
airing it out and it was fascinating. And, also just talking about what we want out of the world and what we're, doing and what we're, seeking and stuff. It was a cool little meeting.
It was great. It was really nice to meet you. I've only met a handful of people
Yeah, you
from my
too.
online world, and that was one of the top, probably the best meetup I've had with anybody. I've had, I
Oh,
guess, meme people I've met up with before, but that
mm,
was just perfect LA
Mima.
experience. I love it. And the thing is too, I think the leg compression definitely helped the float. Why I thought it was one of the best ones I've ever had. I think that had something to do with it. Also, the
Yeah, that makes
atmosphere.
sense.
It was just a great time. And so thank you very much. Thank you.
So
Pause.
welcome. My goodness. The least
It
we could
was
do. What an honor to
fantastic.
have you.
I'm still gonna post the video. I'm way behind on
Awesome.
video posting, so
Yeah,
it's not like
yeah,
I've
no
forgotten
worries.
about that.
Yeah, I still got to post our pics too on the timeline.
Those are great
What
pictures.
a
Yeah.
dream to show you Float Universe around a float studio. Like you're the reason I even felt motivated to, seek out floats and everything. So just honored on my end. So thank you for being you.
Thank you. Thank you. It's just um also driving in LA for me. I love driving. I don't care if it's bad traffic. I
Hmm.
love it. And so if you're a
Hmm.
driver, I recommend
Yeah,
LA because I'm in New York
yeah.
right now and it's not as fun to drive
No,
as it
not at
is in
all.
Los Angeles.
Are you
And it,
driving in New York?
oh yeah,
Oh,
through the
wow.
tunnels and bridges, and New York's getting bad with pedestrians and bicycle lanes. Like the
Oh,
bicycle lanes are
yeah.
crazy now. There's no parking. That was another thing about LA, which was like, man, I can't really stop anywhere if I need to, look for
Right.
something in my back seat, or I need to pull over for the side of the road for whatever reason. There's no
Hmm.
parking anywhere as wide and spread out as things are, and it's spread out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
It's like you can't pull over anywhere for free. You have to pay
no,
if
you
you're
can't.
pulling
You
over
can't.
somewhere.
And it's tight, surprisingly too. It's like almost kind of like New Jersey in a way. Nowhere to park here in New Jersey either. Like I was driving through New Jersey today, I wanted to stop,
Hmm.
and I'm driving a smaller U-Haul van, but still
Hmm.
I couldn't parallel park anywhere. There was no spots.
Damn.
I just wanted to run in a convenience store, impossible. But
Damn.
continue
What
with
part
my
of New
LA,
Jersey? Sorry.
Jersey City.
Cool. Okay. Go back.
We'll
Continue
get
with
we'll
your
get to the
LA.
Jersey stuff here. I got some great Jersey stuff.
Cool.
Um, but I'm not done with LA. So yeah, I
Let's hear
love
it.
LA driving. My pickup was in a Jewish temple, the largest one in LA. I thought perhaps the Illuminati were going to either kill me or let me in the club. Turns out it was neither. It was just a traditional pickup because it is a school too. It's not just a
Yeah, but it's
giant
like
temple.
a big dramatic school.
Yeah, but they were super nice.
Cool. That's
Nobody,
amazing.
yeah,
Thank God.
yeah, it was great. It was in a very well secure facility. They don't want anybody causing any hate crimes at all, or bums. A lot of bums.
Right. Right. Yeah,
A
there's
lot of bums
fences
in that
around
area.
every Jewish establishment
Yeah,
anywhere near, I mean, everywhere, especially in California.
Yeah.
It's like
So I
gates all of a sudden. Go ahead. Sorry.
picked up my load, took it to the terminal and Long Beach. I got to see another thing I love was uh, growing up, gangster rap, Ice Cube, Dr. Dre, Compton, Watts, Inglewood, Long Beach. I stayed in Koreatown, drove all around downtown, drove all through the hood, and then
Hmm.
I said, I'm gonna end. I was like, man, a lot of these trips lately, I've been kind of not doing the mall walking because I've just kind of given up, or the malls haven't been epic enough to warrant me to go do it. I'm not getting paid to do it, and it's sometimes an extra bonus. But I had to go to the Del Amo Mall just because I've been such a huge Quentin Tarantino fan. Not in the past maybe 4 or 5 movies, but the first 4 or 5 movies with him, fantastic. Grew up watching those as a teenager. And Jackie Brown, do you know Jackie Brown?
No,
You don't know Jackie Brown?
no, I don't. Sorry.
You should check it out.
Okay, well,
Strong female lead
okay,
and
amazing.
surprising ending. But I won't say more than that. But it's basically
Okay.
Quentin Tarantino's love letter to that area he grew up in, Torrance and all that surrounding area, that part of LA. And the Del Amo Mall is a huge plot point in that movie. And so I'm not going to spoil it for you,
Mm.
but
Okay, thanks.
I did. I was like, you know what? I don't think there's actually a lot of malls in LA. Am I
No,
right
they're
about
like,
that?
no, there's really not that many. There are some, like, don't get me wrong. I found one today against my will, but yeah, there's not that many. There, a
What do
lot
you
of
mean
them
you
are
found
shut
one against
down.
your will?
Well, I had to go into an, I have had to get a gift for my niece. So I sometimes I'll like just search a shop and it'll be in a mall and I'll be like, damn it, just because I feel depressed by them myself
Yeah,
because they remind me of like, I don't know, like my mom overspending and us just kind of like just watching just like poor habits and just yeah,
retail
it has
therapy with your mom,
negative yeah, it has negative
right?
connotations for me
Connotations. Yeah,
personally, but it is a beautiful way to look at American culture for sure. I enjoy your mall walks. They're not as sad as mine.
yeah. Well, I was surprised to find out that there's not too many in Walmart. Forget about that. There's less Walmarts in
It's true.
The LA area than there are in this New York, New Jersey area,
There's like,
surprisingly.
yeah, there's more now than there ever have been, honestly. For some reason, we just never had a lot of Walmarts, I think, but that's been my experience.
And when you see
So
something
I
on a
could be wrong.
map and it's like 3 miles away, 5 miles away, that's going to take you a damn hour. Which
Yeah.
again, I didn't mind because it was all new to me. Driving around
Hmm.
LA, it was fun, but
Hmm.
I could see how annoying that would get trying to get somewhere and it takes 45 minutes to get 3 miles.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's true what
Running
they say
errands
about the LA
is,
traffic.
yeah. What do they say?
Oh, 6 lanes each way, and there's standstill,
Yeah.
depending on the time of day. I've learned though, but still. So anyway, I said, "Damn, the only mall, Del Amo Mall." I said, "Oh, that's the Jackie Brown Mall." I said, "I gotta go to that one." I don't know how many times I'm actually going to be here in LA because
Hmm.
these jobs could take me anywhere, and this is the second time I've come through New York, New Jersey, so I know that there's certain areas I will be frequenting. Um, but anyway, so the Del Amo Mall,
Hmm.
come to find out, has been around forever and it's gone through so many iterations. It's kind of morphed out of the mall that's in the movie, but you could still see certain spots in the mall and outside the mall, which were definitely in the movie. But the mall
Cool.
evolved over the years and it's so big. It's so fucking big.
Wow.
It's not, I think it's top 5 largest malls in the USA.
Oh, cool. I'm glad you got to go.
It's definitely the biggest in that southern.
Did you
That's
record a mall walk in there?
yeah, oh yeah, definitely had to.
Okay, cool. Let's check it out.
But it was like a pilgrimage for that movie, and it was a mall
Yeah.
walk, and it was just a. I recommend going to that mall if you're looking for something to do in that area. You could spend
Cool.
all day in that mall. I think it's 3 stories, and it's got nothing on the mall I just went to last night though. The
Mm.
mall. Okay, so that's pretty much my LA story. It had a great time. And I'd love to. I would live there if I had a reason to, and I could afford it. You know what I mean? If like a
Right.
job paid me,
Yeah,
or I
so
had to be close to
expensive.
something. But yeah, it
Right.
is expensive. Like the gas is more than in New York City, But New York City, you're paying like prices to just drive around the city now. Like they're gonna start during the day here in New York. They're gonna start if you come into the city, depending on the time of day, they're gonna start taxing you like a toll. They're trying to get as many people out of
Oh
this
wow.
off the island as possible. Um, so they
Ay,
try to
ay,
limit
ay.
it with yeah, like the bridges and the tolls. And I mean, I parked for 3 hours on the street today, and it was close to $45,
Whoa.
$15 an hour. I mean, but it was
Damn.
prime. It was prime. It was near the World Trade Center, so it was like Lower
Yeah.
East Side. Um,
Wow.
but yeah, anyway, so we're not really talking about news. This is more of like a catch up episode and a goodbye to I Can't Believe That's News. So we
Yeah.
won't.
Update.
I got some stories, but I just wanted
Yeah.
to.
Let's do a couple of
So I'm
stories.
I get to this job and
Hmm.
I had to fly through Newark, and I am
Oh,
doing the job's in Manhattan, but they put me in New Jersey because it's just cheaper.
way cheaper.
So I'm looking at something to do last night, and a lot of times I'm just like, you know what, I'm just going to take it easy. I'm not going to go out. But if there's a mall close by, especially if it's less than 2 or 3 miles, I will make the pilgrimage. And I'm glad I did because, man, there's a mall next to me about 2 miles down the street. It's called the American Dream Mall. Have you ever heard of this mall?
No,
It's massive. It is second
really.
only to the Mall of America in terms of size. So it's the second largest mall in this country. I think it's like the third largest in the world. Although there are some massive malls outside of the Western Hemisphere. Like I think actually Abu Dhabi or Saudi Arabia, somewhere in the Middle East, Dubai, I can't remember.
Yeah, I think
They
Dubai
have the
has a pretty iconic mall.
they have the actual like yeah, that's the place to go if you got money.
They have like a SeaWorld in their mall, I think, if I'm remembering
Right.
correctly.
So I went to the American Mall, and this mall has so much going on. They have a just like the Mall of America, they have uh, Nickelodeon universe. Have you ever been to the Mall of America?
No, I haven't.
Okay, I've
Maybe
just
as
been
like a
lucky.
tiny kid in like on a road trip,
It's
but I
in
have no
Minnesota.
memory.
And you ever make it out that
Uh,
far?
no, not as a kid. No.
Yeah, probably not. So this is the same company that owns the Mall of America, which explains why they have all these other attractions. This mall
Okay.
has an indoor ski slope. This mall has, like I said, a theme park inside called Nick Universe, Nickelodeon. They've got, let's see, the
How
Dream
fun.
Wheel, which is a lit up Ferris wheel where you can see over the river into New York. I almost went on that last
Oh,
night, but I
how
said,
cute.
I know. They have an ice rink. They
Nice.
have um an indoor water park. It's called DreamWorks Water Park. So like
Wow.
Shrek. Yeah. And this is a
It's got
mall.
Shrek.
It's next to
Wow.
where I
It's
think the
got
New York
everything.
Giants train and play. So it's like right there in that area. It's in Meadowlands, in New
Okay.
Jersey. It's in East Rutherford.
Okay.
And it just opened too. It's a relatively new mall.
Oh, really?
It was they started opening it around the beginning and right before the pandemic. Then they obviously shut down for a while. So yeah, this only in the past few years that this mall's been really rock and rolling. And I got to Mr. Beast is right.
Oh, right. How was that?
You ever heard of a Mr. Beast burger?
I have only heard of them, never tried one myself.
Because
I was
sometimes you'll see like
nervous.
on your app, on your food apps, you'll see get a Mr. Beast burger.
Hmm.
What is that? Because there's no physical locations.
Yeah,
Well,
it's just one of those
what that
kitchens.
is, we'll see. Yeah, what it is they'll just make a contract with a local kitchen, and it could be your local pub, it could be like a Chili's, something like that, like a chain restaurant. But Mr.
Uh-huh.
Beast goes in and he makes a contract, and we're gonna outsource our burger making and our menu to you. And so there's no consistency to the Mr. Beast burger experience.
Oh, okay.
So if you order a Mr. Beast burger, you could be getting a burger from your local pub.
It's just a
Um,
general idea of a burger. Is
right.
that what,
But
like
he's
he
franchised
doesn't
his.
specify the meat even?
Well,
He just,
they give him guidelines, but it's every region.
wow,
It's not gonna
that's
be like
interesting.
McDonald's. It's not gonna have a consistency. You go to
Yeah.
McDonald's in London, Japan,
Or
here,
most chains have a consistency, that's
right?
interesting.
But you could be in like Idaho If they got a Mr. Beast burger on the app, you could be getting it from Joe's Pub that makes burgers. Or if
Yeah, I
you
don't
live in
hate
New York
that.
City, you could be getting it from like I said, like a Chili's or something. Somebody that's got burgers on the menu,
Hmm.
and they've contracted out to that app. But I actually got to eat the only standing Mr. Beast restaurant location is in the American Dream Mall. I couldn't,
Wow.
you can see he did an episode where he did the grand opening, and there was hundreds of thousands of people fill the whole mall up. And I'm looking at this mall, and I'm like, damn, this mall looks familiar to me. And then when I saw the Mr. Beast restaurant, I'm like, oh shit! I go, this is the mall from the video because I don't watch every Mr. Beast video, but sometimes I'm not
Hmm.
logged into YouTube. Like if you're not
Hmm.
logged into YouTube, they just give you
Yeah, the
random
most basic
recommendations.
ass stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's a lot of times how I'll see a Mr. Beast video. It's like, oh, I'm not logged in, but let me just watch this anyway. Oh, we're gonna cure cancer here. We're gonna build
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So
Yeah, cure the blind.
I I actually saw that video because I'm like, I watched it one day because I'm interested in malls. I don't know why, I just am. And I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
this is a cool looking mall. Maybe one day I'll get to go there. Well, yeah, when I saw the Mr. Beast, I'm like, damn, this mall, so I highly recommend the
That's
American Dream
funny.
Mall in New Jersey. Definitely want to stop by and check that out. It's something to do. You can kill a whole day
Hmm.
uh just walking around that mall. And they have so many things to do too. They got the mirror maze, they've got all these escape rooms, like I said, ski
Whoa.
slopes, and it's more entertainment than shopping. And then
That's fun.
they got really high end part of the mall too, where it's just Hermes and like Louis Vuitton and every rich name brand uh
Right. Storefront.
you can think of. It's
Wow.
I like it better than the Mall of America.
Okay.
I like
Wow.
this mall. But anyway, that was the highlight of my New York trip. Um,
Nice.
and of course I just
Epic.
like, but out of the two though, I would much rather live in LA. The
Yeah.
weather, by the way, the weather was absolutely perfection.
Yeah. It's raining now, but I'm glad you got some of the good stuff.
Yeah. As a
But we need it,
Floridian
you
who's
know.
used to the heat and humidity, it's nice in Florida during the wintertime too, but I don't know. There's a vibe about LA. There really is a vibe.
Yeah.
And the people too, like I met some of the queerest motherfuckers I've ever met in my life, but they were so
Bless them.
nice. That's one thing I'll say about
Yeah.
LA versus New York. The people in just the 3 days I was in LA, and I was in it too. I was in the
Yeah.
streets with the Latinos. I was in the Jewish temple. I was in
You got
the,
everything. You were
the
in
FedEx
Brentwood.
shipping freight, Long Beach, all this stuff. I was all over the place.
Yeah, you
Torrance,
got a
the
really
people at the
good
mall.
dose.
I showed up
That's thorough.
and like the U-Haul place is like a queer guy with in a lowrider, like with braces and like multicolored dreadlocks. But he was so nice. I'm like, fuck yeah, dude. And then I returned to U-Haul. The lady was so black lady was so nice. So I don't know
Yeah.
what's going on with LA people.
There's some
Um,
good ones, man. There's some good peeps.
I guess yeah, as long as you don't get into politics with them,
Yeah,
they'll be your
maybe.
friend, man. Maybe.
Some will still be your friends. Some will still stay around. Yeah, but no, there's some good people here for sure. There's a lot of bad, just like any place, but I'm stoked that you had a positive experience. That's amazing. And you deserve it.
Well, that's that's the thing, and I appreciate that too. You never know what you're gonna get in life. Like I could get
Mm-mm.
on like in terms of odds or variables, you can get on a plane and go somewhere and it could be raining. You could have trouble with the plane. You could have bad run-ins with people. You get in an accident. You could have the worst experiences. But I don't know what's been going on. I'm very thankful that I've been going on these trips. And like I said, I showed up in New York yesterday, and the day before it's like pouring rain here, and it's
Mm-hmm.
nasty weather. And then it's just been great
Ah,
the whole time I've been here because there's nothing worse than picking up a bunch of stuff in the
in the
nasty weather.
rain.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the cold, sleet, and snowy.
Oh my
Uh,
God. What is it called? Black ice is my
yeah,
nightmare. The idea of just like stepping on some black ice.
yeah,
Scary.
had some slippery moments. But so anyway, well,
Well,
I was go ahead.
Well,
What's
I
new
have
with
a
you?
couple updates.
Okay, so I was saying that.
I thought of some silly updates for myself because the only thing I've really shared on this podcast is that I've been watching Lost. And so my updates include that I'm on season 6 now. I'm about halfway
Mm,
through. But also, there's been some weird synchronicities in watching that show. Like yesterday, I was watching an episode that said, like, oh, there's a coffee shop on Sweetser and Melrose. And the week before, I worked 5 days on a gig at a new clothing store at Sweetser and Melrose. And I was like,
nice.
out of all the streets, out of all the coffee shops in all the world, it just was a little wild. Um,
You
so I'm
manifested
seeing
it.
some, so I was like, dude, that's so crazy. No, that's a silly update. But yeah, I did want to share it. Kind of nuts. Kind of
Season
nuts.
6. What are we at? Would they go to 7 or 6? I can't remember.
They end
I
at
think that's it.
6.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're almost to the end.
Yeah. Yep, almost there. I'm excited. It's been a really fun ride. It really has.
I can't wait to hear your thoughts on the ending.
Yeah, yeah, I'll have some thoughts to share for
Who's
sure.
your favorite character at this point?
That's a good question because it does change. I guess it would probably be Jin right now. It was Sawyer and now it's Jin.
After watching it a bunch of times, I used to love John Locke until he turned into the smoke monster.
Right.
He could basically hijacked his body and took his personality
Yeah, he
over.
became
Uh, th-
evil
th-
and confident.
I did not like the way they ended John Locke's like real life. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, so
empathetic like that and
sad. Yeah, so
hanging
pathetic.
himself. Spoilers. Or actually, no,
Yeah.
He's hanging himself
He
and
was
Ben
set
just
up
kills
to
him.
do it himself,
Yeah,
and then Ben did it and just left him even more sad than if he
right.
would have
Yeah,
done
Ben
it
had to do
alone.
it.
It was so
But
sad.
I like Ben too a lot through that show. He has his moments, but I end
Yeah,
up
he's a great actor. Great character. I
he
mean,
is.
yeah,
But I end up after about 4 or 5 times watching that show all the way through. I can't
yeah,
stand Jack. Can't stand Jack.
yeah. Jack's
Um,
such a annoying pussy.
I am a Sawyer. After it's all said and done, I like
Yeah,
Sawyer the best out of the male characters for
yeah.
sure.
He's clever.
And then I like
Great
was it
nicknames.
Juliet. I can't stand Kate.
I don't like Kate, but I also do not like Juliet. But I understand
No,
some people really ride for Juliet. I feel like she like
yeah,
acts with her face, like she's got just such a stupid face. And maybe it's because she reminds me of people in my life or something. I think it's yeah, she bothers me, but I understand liking her. She's beautiful. Whatever.
yeah. And I like Miles. He's a late one to the show.
Oh yeah, yeah. He's very entertaining. Oh, and we love Desmond. Actually,
Oh
that's a
yeah,
top
Desmond. I
fave.
forgot. Yeah, yeah. He's
He's like one of the
Desmond
best
and Sawyer.
ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah.
But I don't know exactly where you are, so I better stop talking
That's okay.
about some characters' fates.
And I don't want to bore the audience. I don't know how many lost
Well,
listeners are
yeah,
out there,
that's
but there
true.
are plenty of fans of the show I found in my everyday life. If I bring it up, I get people being like, oh, 4, 16, 12, 15, 23, 42. It's
Yes,
really
you
funny.
know the
I'm like,
numbers.
whoa, dude. Well, they know the numbers. I was just guessing. I'm pretty sure I got them wrong. But anyway,
It's 4, 8, 15, 16,
20,
23, 42. I'm pretty sure.
23. I think it might, yeah, maybe. Maybe. Yeah. I don't want to
Hurley's
know.
numbers.
Cursed. Just kidding. Yeah.
Hurley too. He's another one that I go back and forth with. I don't know if I really
Yeah.
like him or not. He's a good-hearted character though.
Definitely good-hearted, kind of funny, kind of shakes things up a little bit. I like the disruptive vibe. I like when it's different from
Yeah.
everybody else's. So I can appreciate that for sure.
And Charlie the junkie couldn't go fast enough.
No, I couldn't. But he comes back. He keeps coming back.
Yeah.
And
I
they all
like
do,
Mr.
which is
Echo. I
super
wish they would have
fun.
had what's that?
Yeah, they just keep like bringing them back, which is kind of
Right.
fun and interesting because they present different realities, which I think is important for us to see the display of alternate realities and dimensions because I think that's not far from what we're living. So I love
Are
it.
you at the part where the islands are just like jumping or they're jumping all over the place?
Oh yeah, they've gotten past the like time the super time jumpy part. Now
Right.
they're showing the reality of like if it had never happened and it's
Oh
playing
yeah, that's another thing
alongside.
they do. Yeah.
Yeah.
The flash sideways. I think that's what they
Yeah.
call that. Like, yeah.
And
Yeah,
Desmond
that
is like meddling in everybody's lives, but I like it.
it gets a little too intense there at the end, the last two seasons for casual fans, but for
Yes.
the real heads, it's quite enjoyable. And they don't
Yeah.
they don't pay off everything they set up in the show, which a lot of people get pissed off about in the ending.
But they set
Um,
up a lot of
that's
things,
the
so it
thing.
is
Yeah, that's the thing.
difficult
Yeah.
for them to follow up on each point. So yeah, it's been a blast, man. Just loving it.
Yeah. Well, good. I'm glad that your personal life is going well.
Yes, it
You live
is.
in LA. Outside of the high price of living and uh, liberalism run wild. Um,
Mhm.
it's a great existence. So shout out to all the LA people and
Shout out to
pause.
LA.
That was
Yeah,
great. The
yeah,
float
pause.
there. The Miley Cyrus tank. I felt like $1 million when I was done there. I really felt like a
That's
guest
amazing.
from beginning to
Yes.
end. So shout out to everyone there. That was
Excellent.
awesome.
I'm
And
going to be hosting some breath work with Pause. Actually, we just started planning some events where I'm going to be like guiding a little not a psychedelic, but you know how you have you ever done breath work?
yeah,
So,
it can get very psychedelic.
so yeah, I can. And I trained to do that during the pandemic, and
It's
they're
a lot of
asking me
effort.
to put on a little. Yeah, it's a long time of laying there breathing, but it's quite profound. Some would say.
That's the thing. I get bored with it, and it is effort. But I
Yeah,
have
you need to have someone
charged my
guide you to
hands
like
before.
make you continue. Oh yeah.
Oh, I was like, this has got to be bullshit. I read something about breathing and charging your hands, and it sure enough worked. I said, well, I'm never doing that again because it's actually true.
Wait, what do you mean charge your hands?
Like I was able to build my chi up in a certain way, and I was able to channel it through my hands. And I was going around like touching ATM, like like credit card machines and stores, and people's phones weren't working, and I was shocking
Whoa.
people. Like my hands were super hot, but it took me like an hour of
Whoa.
like intense breathing. Like I was in a that was the whole. I sat there in my car for like an hour on a drive, and I was like, you know what? If this is true, I'm just gonna just breathe as hard as I can. I'm gonna visualize it going into my through my arms and into my hands. And after that, it was just chaos for hours.
Whoa. That's
I said, you know
crazy.
what? I don't know what I'm doing with this stuff. It seems like it's real. So I'm
I
just going to leave it
renounce
alone.
this
And
magic.
yes,
That's
yes.
so funny.
There is power to it, though. And you can have a full on, not that I have personal experience with this, but I've been told
Mhm.
many times over, you can have full on DMT like experiences from just breathing.
Yeah, absolutely. It can be
I believe
beautiful.
it.
It can be, and just like a trip, it can also be like devastating. It can be,
Can it really
whatever
though?
needs to be seen. Yeah.
Can
Oh,
you
yeah. I've had
have
some sad ones.
really? I thought it
Oh,
was
yeah.
all
Where I'm
good when you were
just
using your own
sobbing.
chemicals.
No, no, it's a toss up, I would say,
I
but
guess
I
it's
would
just
60-40 maybe that it's good to bad because not everybody will allow for those emotions to come up because they'll subconsciously know that they're in like a public setting, I think.
right.
But
I guess that's what it is, though.
yes,
It is like a psychedelic where it's like this is the stuff that is
you're like kicking
unconscious
it up.
and you're bringing it
Yeah.
exactly like dust being kicked up to the surface. And I
Yeah.
guess you breathe enough there, you're kicking so much of it up that it's almost undeniable. If you're in a dark
Yeah,
spot
and
or
if
you've
you're
got
doing it regularly, it's supposed to have like some major benefit for your own like personal awareness. Though I've like avoided it violently for like a while now. But I'm still a guide and I like guiding it. I just need to practice it more myself to get more connected to it because it is a beautiful thing. But I think space sometimes is good. Good to take a break from things so that you kind of
yeah.
reassess what they mean to you. So
Well,
that's the
speak
real update from me.
that was a great little thing there. To go back to something to reassess it because
Mm-hmm.
I have a confession. Now,
Mm-hmm.
this is only for the real heads that made it to the end of this podcast because I won't be announcing it on Instagram. I won't be denying it if I'm asked.
Cool.
But when I was in Florida, I indulged in 420 cannabis marijuana consumption
Whoa. How was it?
after about I don't know 3 months of stopping.
Wow.
It
three
was
months.
the first time it was with my girlfriend. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I came back to town. I have a medical marijuana card. I was helping some people out. And I say, let me just get a couple pre-rolls here just in case we get,
Mm-hmm.
just in case.
Yeah,
And
just in
so I
case.
came back to the hotel and we talked about it. And I said, you know what, let's go back to it and see what this is all about. 3 months removed. Now, I think 2.5, 3 months removed isn't long enough because as intense as it wasn't
Hmm.
intense as I thought it was going to be.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I sat there and I was introspective, and later on, I ate a bunch of garbage. But and giving it distance, I could still see like how much I don't need it right now, and how much it does slow me down. It took me a while to get out of that world again once I left Florida, not just
Uh-huh.
um physically not having it at that point, but mentally clearing back up took a while. And
Yeah.
so, like when I
Makes
was in
sense.
LA, I would have totally smoked weed because I'd already kind of like um and again, I wasn't ever fully quitting forever and saying I'm done with it and this stuff can go to hell. It was
Right.
just, look, I've worn out my welcome here with this stuff. I don't feel like it's doing anything for me. It's a waste of money. Blah blah blah. Let's try
Hmm.
life with it. And I'm going back to that, but it's just, man, yeah, the haze afterward was just, it just wasn't worth it. Now, if
Hmm.
you've never done it before, if you never open up these doors of psychedelics and weed and mind expansion, it's a
Hmm.
different thing. Like if you've never done something before and then you do it,
Yeah.
it's like a whole new world opens up for you. And for some people that can be great, some people not. But for me, it was like I've already walked through the store hundreds of thousands of times already. It's
Hmm.
basically how I remember it. I didn't learn anything mind blowing. There was no
Okay.
like big moment of good or bad. It's just this is what it is. You're
Hmm.
seeing now from like when you're that deep in the woods, it's really true you can't see. But when you back out of the woods and then
Hmm.
you try to look at it again, you're like, oh, wait a minute. I can I have a better handle on how much this is actually fucking me up. Coughing and hazy, slower.
Hmm.
Um, some people like that every day.
Yeah.
I, I just realized I was better without it. And we
Yeah.
smoked for a few
Beautiful.
days to drive home the facts, to drive home
Just to
the
make sure. Yeah.
just to make, well, that was the thing too. I'm like, well, okay. Because always before it's like, oh, okay, let me just, if you, I've never done like, let's smoke one night and then not smoke again for 3 months. It's always, let's try
Right.
it again the next day. And it
Yeah.
was the
Let's
same
pop
thing. It
back
was just,
in.
it seems like it compounds more and more the more I would do it, like the worthlessness of it. Like you're just
Yeah.
draining. It's like the first time it's like a towel that's wet and you wring it out and you're just getting so much water out of it, right? Because you're just
Yeah. It's
wringing
wild.
it. But then you come back to that same towel the next day and there's water in there still, and you're squeezing it, but it hasn't had any time to absorb any new water, and you're just
Mm.
wringing that sucker out, and it just seems like the more I would do it every day, more and more, it was just I'm wringing on a towel that has been wrung out, and there's just drops versus I could fill a whole bucket with the first squeeze and now I got 2 drops 3 days later trying to squeeze this
Hmm.
towel.
Hmm.
So that's my confession. uh
Beautiful. I'm glad it
but
was a neutral experience rather than like a horrible one, you know?
I was hoping it would be bad, like paranoid, and but I'm like, I've done it so many times at this point, and the reason I don't have bad trips or even have nightmares is because I'm not really worried about anything. I'm not really scared at an unconscious level of like really anything. And I think like
Beautiful.
when you're paranoid,
Yeah.
uh for whatever reason, there's stuff you need to look at. Why am I feeling this way? A
Hmm.
lot of people with weed, it's like, oh, it's illegal. I could go to jail, or my job, I could get drug tested. When those things are out the window, then it's like, what do you got going on inside of you, really? That is your darkness that this weed is bringing to the surface that's causing you to have a bad time with it. And for me, it's just like, it was like, you need to get married and have kids. I'm like, whoa. I'm like, I don't, you know what I mean?
Whoa.
It's like, it was telling me like, you need to like stop fucking around and get
Oh,
serious.
yeah.
And, it wasn't bad, but it was just like, it was just pointing out obvious things
Hmm.
that, I don't spend a lot of time thinking about, but it's like, yeah, you know what? The clock is ticking. And what do I really want out of life?
Yeah, go
And,
after it.
so it did bring things into my awareness, but it wasn't necessarily like, again, I don't have nothing to be like scared, afraid of, ashamed of, worried about. So I don't really get paranoid. Like what's the worst that can happen to me? I'm gonna die or something. I've made peace with that. So anyway,
Beautiful.
I smoked weed again, and it wasn't that big of a
And
deal.
it was meh. Good for you. Beautiful. Thank you for your confession.
Yeah, that's part of the fun is keeping it real. And anyway, so
Absolutely.
there's no more. I can't
All
believe
right.
that's.
Oh, sorry. Didn't
No,
mean to
go
cut
ahead.
you off. No, no. Go ahead. I thought you said there's no more weed. I was gonna be like, yeah, man, that's the way it goes. Go ahead with what
There
you were
might be
gonna
more
say.
weed. There might be more
For
weed,
sure. Beautiful. Yeah.
but there's definitely
No
no more. I
attachment.
can't believe that's news. That's just this was the last episode. Sorry, we didn't do any news
We just did our
reporting.
own news.
My stories here are basically about kids eating gummies that look like regular candy,
Oh
and
no.
parents freaking out, going to the hospitals and stuff like that. It's more
I
flight
just
stuff, people fighting on
nice.
airplanes.
I saw a TikTok of a bride going to jail for putting weed in all the wedding food. Isn't that
Oh,
funny? So insane.
why would you want to do that to your guests? Not
To
everybody
just everybody. Yeah. Like that could make a really bad time.
make a really bad time.
Yep.
Like people overreact and go to the emergency room. It's for
Some couple
edibles.
did. Couple got carted away. That's how the whole thing got busted.
Well,
That, that's
yeah,
it.
that's. I've heard too many bad stories about being dosed, and not just with weed, but with other things. It's like
Right.
that's definitely assault and battery.
Yep. It's
Maybe not
bad.
assault, but battery. Assault is like, there's a big difference between assault and battery. Assault is like you think somebody's going to come and hurt you, and the battery is the actual hurting. Like assault, when somebody assaults you, they
Oh.
haven't actually laid hands on you. It's just you're in fear of it. You have an expectation.
Oh.
Yeah, but but the battery is the actual, hitting or whatever, the abuse, the physical touch.
Of course.
Maybe we'll learn something on this podcast after all, but I'm going to read the actual meaning. Okay, is an intentional act that gives another person reasonable fear that they'll be physically harmed or offensively touched. So if I, come at you a certain way with words and act a certain way, that's assault. And then that's what the lawyers come into
Okay.
to play.
Words
Well,
are
let's really
assault.
define. It's a word thing. Let's define it. But no physical contact or injury actually has to occur. But the accused person must have acted intentionally in a way to cause the fear. So that's why I don't like
Mm.
things like hate crime and hate speech and these broad strokes that they paint with to get you charged with a crime, because maybe an offensive joke might cause somebody fear, right? That you've assaulted me with your
Right.
joke, or the wrong words, and in the wrong body language. People could construe that or misinterpret that as assault. But yeah, there is a big difference. Assault and battery is I've threatened you, I've come at you, and then I've actually done the deed and knocked you upside the head or something.
Well, now we
So there you
know.
go. Now you
Oh
know.
yeah. I didn't know.
So shout out to thanks for doing those episodes with me. You're
Hmm.
always welcome back. But I'm not going to seek you out, and I'm not going to take down any of the other content I've done with you. Um, but I wish you the best,
Yep.
and it was
Same.
fun, and I look forward to the content you crave with Carrie Miller.
Woohoo! Me too. I'm excited. Thank you, everybody who's been listening, and I hope that we continue to entertain and have fun and be silly and grow.
Yeah, that's the hope going forward, is we have more consistency and like segments. Like I want to do a 9/11 segment
Cool.
every episode, where I have just a little
Oh,
thing,
wow. I'm down.
something to do. I always see something that might reminds me of 9/11. I could have done on
Never
this
forget.
episode, but we'll save it.
Never forget.
Exactly. Never forget. So anyway, that's it. That's the final episode of I Can't Believe That's News going forward. And I'm not sure if it's going to be, I think it'll probably stick on Wednesdays or Thursdays. Going forward, it's the content you crave, and it'll be a lot more consistent.
Woohoo!
And
That's
thank
right.
you, everybody that made it this far
Hmm.
to the end of the podcast. Because sometimes I look on the YouTube stats and it's like, oh, they lasted 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's okay. Still
they
doing it.
heard they heard Carrie's voice and they turned it off.
Someone did comment very upset that I was in these episodes, and it was
that
very
was
silly to me.
that was what I was alluding to. There
I
was
love
the
it.
people that have made comments, sent me messages. She sees these things too, guys. She saw the comment with
You
like the
think I
barf
don't see these
face.
things?
Like,
Oh no, not Carrie Miller.
all right, is this a
Sorry.
Yeah, people when I would post it earlier, they're like, "Is this a Carrie or a Carrie episode?" I'm like, "It's Carrie," and they're like, "Sad face." So,
Listen, I'm not quite the same person as her, okay? I'm sorry. We're
and
working
that's
on
that's no, that's great. Because the truth
I don't
is,
know
if
what
you
I'm
really
working
wanted
on.
to,
I'm just working on being more outspoken, is what I mean to say. I've come on very shy. Okay, that's what I'll say.
we talked about that when we met up in LA. You have come a long way,
Mhm.
and also like I'm not trying to like set traps for you like I did with because I admit to that fully. I listened to some of the stuff we've done before, and it's just like me leading her down a path to see what kind of dumb things she would say, or
Well, if I
like
ever am, sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
or just checking her logic on her arguments. Like, okay, this logically makes no sense from like you believe in two different things, or you believe in the same thing, but you know what I mean? Like, I always had
Well,
to
I
like,
hope to be held accountable in that way. Like
oh,
I
you
don't
will
want to
be held
be
accountable, but I almost
built,
felt
then
like
let's go. I'm good with that. I don't want to, you know, perform or like try to present myself as anything in particular. I just want to
right.
be this person figuring out what it all is all the time. So I appreciate you being straight up and honest. And if you feel like you need to set a trap, I'm not gonna hold it against you, float.
No, but that was part of the thing, and I admit to that now, which was especially the more hypocritical she got with me. I'm like, I'm just gonna just like lay out logical arguments here, lay the traps down, see where she if she walks into them, and get comedy out of it. Because I know the people, because I think about the people listening and listening
Yeah,
to her
exactly.
and listening to my argument, and I get it. You may not believe in a lot of things I believe in or how I believe it, but at least I'm not bullshitting you.
Yeah.
You might not believe in me, but I stand by what I believe in, and I'm also willing to change if I get information that is contrary and is better or is just the truth. I'm willing to and admit it and say, hey, I was fucking wrong. Or I did this, I did that, I was wrong to do it, I was right to do it. Here's why. And that's what I want to hear. That's what the content I crave is
There
honesty. So
you
that's
go.
why going forward, that's what it's going to be called. The content you crave. We'll get a website going. It'll be fun and it'll be
Hmm.
more consistent.
Yep.
And I expect you to bring more to the table.
You got it.
You know, more
Absolutely.
more ideas, more stories,
Yeah, I'll
and
bring
I
stories.
and I'll be more consistent with like, oh, you'll text me and then I won't text you back for like a day and a half later. I'm like, oh, and it's nothing but let's see, like the last time I just didn't even look at my phone. I was so busy, and
It's all good.
it's
Honestly,
also like,
I needed the time off. I needed the space, so it was all good with me.
well, sometimes there's a 2 or 3 hour difference between us two, and I forget that like I can't just text you in
Right.
the morning or late at night. I might not see what you're texting me. Like one time you texted me at like 3 o'clock in the morning, but it was like one
Right.
o'clock in the morning your time,
Yeah.
and I got back to you like instantly, but you just I guess gone to bed. So
Yeah, I
that's been a
just
lot of
done.
it for me has been the time zone differences in my traveling. But anyway, I'm gonna wrap this
All
up.
right.
This is just me talking episode,
We got
and
more to
you,
come.
yeah. But I appreciate it. And you've been great, by the way. Thanks again,
Thank
Carrie,
you. Thank you so much for having me.
for helping me
Seriously.
reboot this thing, and we'll move forward
Absolutely.
with new resolve, new content, just a whole new face and energy. And I think we should pick
Yes.
this up in the new year.
Love it.
That being
Big.
said, it is December 19th recording this. I'll probably
Mhm.
post this tonight or the next night. So Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays,
Happy
Happy Hanukkah,
holidays.
Happy
Mhm.
Kwanzaa. Um, but yeah, I
Yeah,
can't
hope
believe
you're
that's
all
news.
enjoying your holidays. Bye, everyone.